Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into something big, something I wish I had learned a hell of a lot sooner in life. It's about becoming unshakable, about mastering yourself in a world that's constantly trying to throw you off balance. See, life's tough, right? We've all been there. Those moments when everything feels like it's crashing down, when people push your buttons, when you're staring at the clock wondering where all the time went. And here's the kicker. Most of us guys don't figure this stuff out until it's almost too late. So grab a coffee, sit back, and let's talk about the Stoic lessons, those hard-hitting truths that every man needs to hear. These aren't just fluffy motivational quotes. This is real, raw wisdom that'll change how you move through life. First up, let's talk about control. Picture this. You're driving down the highway, minding your own business, and some dude cuts you off. Horn blaring, you're pissed, your blood's boiling, and suddenly you're yelling at the windshield like it's going to solve anything. Sound familiar? Here's the Stoic truth bomb. The second you let someone or something get under your skin like that, they own you. Yeah, you heard me right. They're the puppet master, and you're just dancing on their strings. The Roman philosopher Epictetus said it best. No one can harm you unless you let them. That anger, that frustration, it's not about what they did. It's about what you let it do to you. So how do you break free? You stay calm. You breathe. You face the truth head on. Maybe that guy's a jerk. Maybe he's just having a bad day. Doesn't matter. What matters is you keeping your cool, holding your ground, and not handing over the keys to your peace of mind. It's not easy. Trust me. I've flipped out over dumb stuff too. Spilled coffee, a rude email, you name it. But here's the game changer. When you train yourself to pause, to let the storm pass without reacting, you take back the power. That's what being unshakable starts with. Owning your mind, not letting the world rent it out. All right, let's shift gears a bit. Every morning, you wake up, right? Sun's up, coffee's brewing, and you've got a fresh shot at this thing called life. But how often do we actually stop and think, man, I'm lucky to be here? The Stoics, like Marcus Aurelius, that badass Roman emperor, were obsessed with this idea. He'd wake up and tell himself, you're alive. You get to think, to feel, to love. That's a privilege. And he's right. Too many of us stumble through our days on autopilot, griping about traffic or bills, missing the fact that just being here is a freaking miracle. So here's the challenge. Tomorrow morning, before you check your phone or grumble at work, take 5 seconds, literally, just 5, and say to yourself, I've got this day. I'm in charge of how I see it. You don't control the weather, your boss, or the Wi-Fi dropping midstream, but you do control your headspace. That's your power. And when you start stacking up days like that, days where you're grateful just to breathe, you'll feel this shift. It's like putting on armor. The small stuff stops rattling you because you've got your eyes on the bigger prize. Living, really living, every damn day. Now let's get into toughness. Imagine a cliff standing tall by the ocean. Waves crash into it day after day, year after year. Big ones, small ones, doesn't matter. That cliff, it doesn't budge. The Stoics love this metaphor. Life's going to throw waves at you. Job losses, breakups, health scares, you name it. And here's where most guys mess up. They let those waves knock them down, drag them under. They crumble. But you can be that cliff. How? By deciding right now that no matter what hits you, your spirit stays upright. It's not about pretending everything's fine. It's about knowing that deep down, you're tougher than the storm. I've had my share of waves, man. Lost a job I loved, watched a relationship fall apart, felt like the ground was gone. But every time I stood back up, I got stronger. You will too. Next time life smacks you, plant your feet, square your shoulders, and say, is that all you got? That's unshakable. Okay, let's talk about time. This one hits hard. We're all guilty of it, saving up money like it's the holy grail, but then blowing hours scrolling TikTok or stressing over crap we can't change. The Stoics saw time as the real treasure. Seneca, this old school Roman thinker, said, you live as if you'll live forever, but time's slipping through your fingers. Damn, that stings, doesn't it? Because it's true. We'll hustle for a paycheck, but let days, weeks disappear without even noticing. So here's a Stoic fix. Treat every day like it's a fresh start, a mini lifetime. Wake up and ask yourself, If this was my last day, what would I do with it? Not in some cheesy movie way, but for real. Would you waste it arguing with a stranger online? Or would you call your mom, hit the gym, chase that dream you've been shelving? Time isn't infinite, guys. It's the one thing you can't earn back. Start spending it like it's gold, because it is. Ever feel like you're just drifting? Like you're working, paying bills, but you're not sure where it's all going? Seneca had this killer line. If a man doesn't know what harbor he's aiming for, no wind is the right wind. Boom, mic drop. If you don't have a direction, life is just going to toss you around like a leaf in a storm. And too many of us guys wait for permission, wait for the perfect moment to figure out what we want. Stop waiting. Sit down tonight, grab a pen, and write it out. What's your harbor? Maybe it's starting that business, fixing your health, being a better dad. It doesn't have to be fancy, just clear. Once you've got that, every choice you make, every yes, every no, starts steering you there. That's power. That's purpose. And when you've got purpose, the wind doesn't just blow you around, it carries you. All right, let's get real for a sec. You ever notice how the toughest times show you who you really are? The Stoics were all about self-awareness. They believed knowing yourself, your strengths, your flaws, your triggers, is where wisdom kicks off. It's like the foundation of a house. Without it, everything else collapses. Hardship? That's just the test. It's the mirror showing you what you're made of. I'll give you an example. A while back, I bombed a big project at work. Total faceplant. I could have blamed my team, the deadline, whatever, but I had to look at myself. What did I miss? Where did I slack? That sucked, but it made me better. You've got to do that too. Next time you're pissed or stressed, ask, what's this saying about me? That's not weakness. That's strength. That's the start of being unshakable. Here's a big one. Your thoughts run the show. The Stoics said it over and over. Everything you hear, everything you see, it's just noise until you decide what it means. Some jerk cuts you off, you can think he's an idiot and ruin your day, or you can think, his problem and move on. The event's the same. Your reaction is what matters. Marcus Aurelius put it like this: you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you'll find strength. Start watching your thoughts, man. They're like the architect of your life. If they're negative, chaotic, you're building a shaky hut. If they're clear, steady, you're crafting a fortress. It's not about ignoring reality. It's about choosing how you frame it. That's freedom. Quick question. What's success to you? A fat bank account? A big house? The Stoics flipped that script. They said the poorest guy isn't the one with nothing. It's the one who's always chasing more. Real wealth? It's gratitude. It's looking at what you've got, a roof, a meal, a friend, and saying, this is enough. That's not settling, that's winning. Try this. Tonight, name 3 things you're thankful for. Doesn't matter how small. Watch how it shifts your whole vibe. That's the Stoic secret. Success isn't out there, it's in here. Nobody can wreck your life unless you let them mess with your core. That's the Stoic promise. Happiness isn't about what's happening. It's about how you think about it. Your boss yells, your car breaks down, whatever. It only ruins you if your mind lets it. Guard that inner peace like it's a fortress. Build it with good thoughts and nothing gets through. And hey, while we're at it, being unshakable isn't a one-and-done deal. It's a lifestyle, a grind, a way of showing up every single day like the man you were meant to be. Let's peel back another layer of this Stoic wisdom, because there's more gold here, stuff that's going to stick with you long after this video ends. Think about the people in your life, your buddies, your family, that coworker who drives you up the wall. How much of your energy gets sucked into worrying about what they think, what they say, what they do? The Stoics had a fix for that too. They said, focus on what's yours, your actions, your choices, and let the rest roll off your back. You can't control if your buddy flakes on plans or if your boss hands you a last-minute deadline, but you can control how you show up. You can be the guy who doesn't flinch, who doesn't waste breath complaining, who just gets it done. I've been that complainer, man, spending hours stewing over some offhand comment, letting it eat me up. But then I started asking myself, why am I giving this so much real estate in my head? The answer? I shouldn't. And neither should you. Cut the noise. Focus on your lane. That's how you build a mind that doesn't bend, no matter who's throwing shade your way. Now, let's talk about failure, because if we're real, every guy's tasted it. You bomb a presentation, miss a shot at something big, or maybe you just screw up something small, but it stings anyway. Most of us beat ourselves up over it, right? Replay it in our heads like a bad movie on loop. But here's where the Stoics flip the script again. Failure's not the enemy, it's the teacher. Seneca said, "What need is there to weep over parts of life? The whole of it calls for tears." Deep, right? But what he's getting at is this. Screwing up is just part of the gig. It's not about avoiding it, it's about what you do with it. I've had my flops, big ones. There was this time I pitched an idea to a room full of suits, thought I had it in the bag, and they tore it apart, walked out feeling like a loser. But looking back, that moment taught me more about grit, about listening, about sharpening my game than any win ever did. So next time you fall flat, don't hide from it. Stare it down. Ask, what's this showing me? That's how you turn a punch into power. And speaking of power, let's hit on something else the Stoics were obsessed with: simplicity. We live in this wild, loud world, ads screaming at you, notifications pinging, everyone flexing their highlight reels online. It's easy to get caught up, to think you need more stuff, more status, more everything. But Marcus Aurelius, he'd sit there in his tent, emperor of Rome, and write, "Very little is needed to make a happy life." Think about that. The dude ran an empire and still said happiness isn't about piling up trophies, it's about stripping down to what counts. For me, that's been a slow burn to learn. I used to chase every shiny thing, new gear, more followers, whatever, thinking it'd fill some hole. Didn't work. What did? Cutting the fat. Zeroing in on what actually lights me up. Time with my people, a good book, a solid workout. What's that for you? Figure it out and start saying no to the rest. That's not deprivation. That's strength. That's unshakable. All right, let's zoom out even more. Ever think about how much of life is just waiting? Waiting for Friday, waiting for vacation, waiting for the right time to start that thing you've been dreaming about. The Stoics would smack us upside the head for that. They'd say, you've got now, stop kicking the can down the road. Life's not a rehearsal, guys. It's the main event happening right this second. I used to be that waiter, telling myself I'd get serious about my goals when the stars aligned. Newsflash, they don't align. You've got to move anyway. Start small if you have to. 10 push-ups, a phone call, 1 page of that book you've been meaning to write. Just start. Momentum's a beast once it kicks in, and the Stoics knew it. They lived like every day was a deadline, not in a panicked way, but in a let's make it count way. So what's one thing you've been putting off? Hit it today. Not tomorrow, not next week, today. That's how you stop drifting and start steering. And here's the final piece, the one that ties it all together. Courage. Not the loud, chest-thumping kind, but the quiet, steady kind. The kind that says, I'm going to face this, whatever it is, and I'm not backing down. Life's full of shadows, man. Doubt, fear, chaos. And the Stoics didn't sugarcoat it. They said, yeah, it's there. So what? Step up anyway. I've had to find that in myself more times than I can count. Like when I moved cities with no job lined up, just a gut feeling and a duffel bag. Scary as hell. But I did it. And every time you do it, face the shadow, take the hit, keep moving, you're forging something unbreakable. That's the heart of this whole Stoic thing. You're not here to coast, you're here to stand tall, no matter what. So guys, that's the deeper dive. More lessons, more truth, more ways to be unshakable. It's not about being perfect, it's about being real, being steady, being you at your strongest. Take this stuff, chew on it, live it. Drop a comment. What's the one thing you're going to tackle today? What's your shadow? Let's keep this convo going. Smash that like button if you're feeling it. Hit subscribe if you're new here. And let's keep pushing to be the men we're built to be. Catch you in the next one.